just heading up into Sugarloaf Ridge State Park, which is like up in here. I think kind of goes over there a little bit. But there's some houses out here that are just beyond cool, man. One in particular, well, two in particular, I think are absolutely amazing. One of which is, yeah, I'm just like speechless. You'll see, I mean, that was like a driveway up to some houses here. Here's like a little yard. I mean, these are just the most cool, charming, quaint, unique, like you name it. There's a creek or a river that's running along behind these houses here. So there's a house up here on the left. I think we're coming up on it really soon. I don't know if they just like have nearly unlimited supply of these like big cobblestones or whatever. There's a little neighborhood up there, but it's just ivy covering everything. But look at this house here. It's just everywhere. The bridge, there's like a structure up behind it, a garage, a shop. It's literally the whole property. Everything are like these river stones. And it's beyond amazing looking. Like, he's got like a garage or like a shop or something underneath the house. So like when you come in, you can see the driveway goes underneath the house and there's some type of shop, and then it goes back out. And then it goes along a road. I think that maybe that's the bridge to get over the river. I don't know. It goes along another road up to this like big, nice garage shop area. I can only imagine how amazing of a home that is on the inside as well. I mean, you can see the attention to detail in the way it's put together. Like, wow, what a nice place. So I would normally come around these roads a bit more, but there's quite a bit of gunking or, you know, gravel out in the road, and my bike has a very low, very small lean angle. Just does not really, I can't lean very much, otherwise I'm scraping pegs. But the other really cool house is right here. So it's like on this curve, they have multiple like driveways in and out or whatever. They have all these toys, like a big motorhome, looks like a toy hauler. They always have like quads out and dirt bikes, and every time I see places out here, I always just wonder, like, what is it that you do for a living? Like, how in the, like, I mean, I can't even imagine what some of these properties cost. Like, it's not that cheap to live in Sonoma County or California in general, much less the North Bay, much less, you know, right next to a state park. Like, yeah. So I don't know what they do, but man, they got some really cool places out here. But yeah, this is all, I don't ever actually pay. I'm not like a member. I guess I technically should be. I don't know. I think you have to be in order to park. That's what they say, like, well, not that one. That one's a Planet sign, but they'll have signs up here, you'll see, that say, like, this is a, you know, paid area or something, like, right, I think that's right here. Yeah, fee area. So, like, you know, people will go down, there's all these, like, trails to go down here, which it goes down a little ways down in there. And I don't ever pay just because I always just come in and leave, just turn around. But it's really cool. It's gorgeous out here. Purposely riding the clutch a bit there because that's one thing I do wish this had. I don't really like the gearing of this bike. I definitely am not a fan of 5 speeds. For how much time I spend on the highway, 5 speeds are like, it's just annoying. Like, you know, majority of the miles in this bike, which are just under 20,000 now, it's less than a year old. Yeah, I put all those on like less than like 9 months. We'll stop here real quick. Actually, we'll stop here. Let's stop here on the way back. Hopefully there's no one there, but it'll be cool to see it on the way back coming down. So so hopefully the camera doesn't die. Otherwise I have to do this all again. Yeah, so the 5 speeds, I spend so much time, yeah, like 3,500 RPM or so, or a little bit higher. This red line's at 45, and I feel like that's too, I feel like it's pushing it too much. Like I feel like the 5-speed Sportster transmission is not a highway transmission. It's not a touring bike, you know what I mean? So like, it kind of by default, that's not what it's gonna be great at. It is a really fun engine, and the transmission is great, but not for the stuff that I end up doing a lot. So I'm, you know, in the market for a new bike, and I can't really decide. I'm a motorcycle fan. I'm not one of those people who's just like totally stuck on a brand or something or whatever. Like, I just like riding. My first motorcycle was a 2003 Kawasaki Ninja ZXR 636. Yeah, that was the order you said the letters in. ZXR 636. It was like the racing one or whatever. Really fun motorcycle. I had it when I was younger, and I did stupider things, or more stupid. I never tried any tricks or anything again, but speeding, man. Oh, I was out in a fairly safe area, but I actually had that up to 162. That's the fastest I've ever been on the ground, and that's really fast. You don't really need to go that fast pretty much ever in your life, unless, you know, it's like a bullet train or something maybe, but man, that's fast. And I just don't need that anymore. And when I had that Ninja, I tried taking a couple short trips, and I mean, I don't want to say it's torturous, because, you know, not really a good thing to say, just lightly, not a good word to use lately, but man, not fun at all. You basically have to wear a backpack, which, and this was in Texas in the summertime, which is like just asking for the most uncomfortable feeling imaginable on your back. It just sticks to you, and especially if it's any bit of a dark color, which most backpacks are. They're not generally like clear or something like that, or, you know, white or whatever. It's just uncomfortable. You're in the worst position for your body. You can't spend more than, I mean, an hour is hard on a crotch rocket. An hour, no joke. Or a sport bike, or super sport, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, I spend an hour 15 each way, you know, or an hour and 15 to and from work. And there's no way that's happening on anything other than a cruiser or an adventure bike. I just don't, it's not possible. It would not be comfortable, and it's just not functional. So I'm kind of torn between, well, I'm not torn between. Right now, if I were to go buy a new bike today, I'd go buy a street bob with the 103, like either a 2014 or 15, or what I'm kind of thinking is just waiting till the 2016s roll out, and I can do the HD1 custom builder and get it, you know, exactly how I want it from the factory, and then and be set. But I am thinking a fair amount about an adventure bike, and the problem with the adventure bike, in my opinion, is I feel like it's such a niche like market, in a sense, or demographic, if you want to call it that, amongst motorcyclists. Like, I know people will say like that's pretty much the best all-around bike, and you know, I would probably agree. You know, if you knew that you could absolutely only ever have one motorcycle in your life, and you were just going to be like an ordinary motorcycle rider, it wasn't going to be like your main mode of transportation, you know, you weren't doing like crazy stuff on it, crazy as far as like commuting and whatnot, lots of miles, then yeah, I think an adventure bike is pretty much your best bet. just because you can go off-road a little bit, you can go on-road, you can go long distance, you can go fast, you can hit the twisties, like, you can do, you know, you're kind of like the jack of all trades motorcycle. That being said, jack of all trades, master of none, is kind of how I feel about it. And if you talk to anyone, honestly, I mean, they'll agree. It's absolutely, when you get off-road, it's not a dirt bike, not even close. You know, a super sport bike is gonna say it's not even close to a super sport bike, in both in twisties and in speed. And cruisers are gonna say it's not as comfortable as you know, as their bikes, and I would agree. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Man, I don't even know. I wonder if I'm still recording. Let's see. It's gonna be some long videos, my goodness. So yeah, this parking area requires a day use pass. The sign wasn't up here not that long ago. So they want you, man. I mean, I get it, but $8 just I mean, I'm not out here for the day, I'm out here for 5 minutes. So to me, stuff like that is like, what, you know, really you need to pay for that? But whatever. Kind of stand up here a bit, you can kind of see out. Try not to point at anything, for good reason. I want you to see it. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm looking at a Tiger. What is it? The XC 800. Jeez, man, everyone's got other letters, other names. Model names are crazy. XC something like SE ABS 800, something like that. I think it's the adventure one. It's their top of the line adventure bike that's under a liter. So the 800 line or series, or, you know, tier engine. You know, with ABS and, you know, like a good basic setup, so that you can go buy all the stuff for adventure bike. And that's the other thing with adventure biking, in my opinion. I mean, you got to get a lot, whereas you really don't have to do a lot to a cruiser, or even what I'm looking at the Street Bob, to really enjoy it and get a lot of use out of it initially. Obviously, there's a lot you can do. Yeah, we'll look at my bike a bit, and then I'm gonna take off. I don't know how much more battery life I have. But yeah, you know, I'm looking at, like I said, the Tiger 800. I would look at the 1190. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm also looking at the BMW. So that's the other thing. So like, I kind of feel like if I got the adventure bike, I almost feel like I would have to get like the full deal. Like, I almost feel like if I got an adventure bike, I gotta, you know, not get it all, but really get the adventure, like, you know, feel, I guess, or whatever, experience. There you go, that's what I'm thinking of. So, you know, like in other words, I feel like if I got the 800 and I got into it and I was like, man, this is really fun, I really like doing adventure stuff, and I put all my gear on there and I get my wife on there with me and we're trying to go somewhere, and I'm just like, man, this just isn't cutting it. And the reason I'm saying this is that's what's happening with this. Is it's a cool little bike, I like it, it's a lot of fun, it's a great beginner cruiser. Obviously you can get a smaller beginner cruiser, but I've ridden before and this is no problem at all, not too big of an engine for me. But you know, this is too small, especially for 2-up, and especially if you're ever going to think about taking a trip 2-up. I mean, this just is not feasible. Like, you know, maybe if I was going to go on a trip with a little kid or something, you know, someone half the size of a grown adult, but it's just, it's too small of a bike for two up with gear and everything. And that's kind of what I feel like might be my concern or my fear in getting like an 800 size adventure bike. So I don't know, there's so many things with that, you know. With the BMW GS 800, I would get a really nice adventure bike. That's actually, if I were to go 800, I would do that pretty much most likely. I think that's probably the best like sub-liter adventure bike, just from my own little reading and, you know, watching some things online. I've never ridden it. I've ridden a Tiger 800, and that was it as far as adventure bikes, and that was a lot of fun. I've ridden on a 650 V-Strom. I wasn't the rider, I was the passenger, and it was a lot of fun. But the thing with the, so okay, before I don't change topics again, so the 800, the GS 800 is chain driven, which is nice because, so I put a ton of miles on whatever I'm gonna get. Like, that's a guaranteed. Right now and you probably won't be able to make it out, let's see, I'm at 19,454 miles, and I got the bike brand new September 27th, 2014. Today is July 18th, 2015, so not even a year. I still have another 2.5 months before it's a year, and I'm gonna hit 20,000 miles next week, like this week. Like, in fact, I gotta call the dealership probably tomorrow and see if I can get scheduled for a maintenance this week, which is just kind of crazy. So that, you know, it gets me back to the point of like, whatever I get, I know I'm going to be putting a lot of miles on it, and I want something that is affordable as far as maintaining it. And I know, you know, there's people out there, and I wish I were more mechanically minded or capable, or I should say able. I am capable, but right now where I live, I can't do any work. I don't have a place to do any work on my bike. It's not allowed where I'm at, and I don't have the tools. So it's just not something that I can really do right now. So I pretty much have to go to the shop, and it is nice. It does, in my opinion, help maintain its value. You know, I've had all the maintenance done for this at the shop I bought it at. They've marked it all off in my book that's, you know, in the bike that I got. It's saying, yeah, I mean, I think it's good, and it shows like you build a good rapport, and it's, you know, anyways. So yeah, the 12 or the 1190 or the 1200 series or whatever for the BMW GS, I like how it looks, except, like, it looks really cool, except for whatever reason, I just think the opposed engine or the opposed seeing or whatever you call it, I just do not like the look of it. It looks really awkward, and I see the practicality of it, like where it puts the engine and the type of effect of like gyroscopic effect or any type of like additional balancing that you're going to get from that, as well as like I said, being higher up and being like enabling better lean angles and whatnot. I totally get it, and it's like, it makes a lot of sense. It's a really cool idea for an adventure bike and everything. It's a cool idea for an engine, I guess, but yeah, I just don't like how it looks. I think it looks super wide and fat, and I feel like, you know, one of the last things you want out on the outside, like the extreme of your bike, the extremities, is like something as, you know, valuable as the engine and its components. That just, it seems scary to me, I guess, especially, I mean, I do a lot of lane splitting, a lot, and I don't know if that would be the best bike for lane splitting, so that's part of my concern. Whereas, oh, and then also it has the drive shaft, so it's, you know, they don't have a chain or a belt, they drive by shafts, or whatever you call that. And that is, I want to say like $7,000 or something to fix. That's nuts. That's a new motorcycle. Like, that's totally a new motorcycle for a lot of people. So, and not, you know, the bike isn't super cheap to begin with. I think it starts out at like 18 or something. So, you know, that it's probably not even in my price range, but that's kind of my concern. Is I'm like, okay, look, when I look at cruisers, I'm not looking at, you know, the $20,000 cruisers. Like, yeah, those would be cool, but it's like the differences on them are kind of like so great. Like, it's almost like a different let's see, I'm trying to think. It'd be like if you were to go accessorize your bike, but you just kind of got the biggest, best, you know, accessory for everything, which with a base model. Because I mean, that's kind of what the touring things are. They have, you know, a bit different, like the engine's a bit different, and, you know, I think the frame might be a little bit different. Like, I think it just accommodates more, you know, weight basically. But the point is I feel like if I could get, I feel like an entry level or a entry level mid lineup cruiser is more affordable and has more initial value and continued value than like a lower level adventure bike. If any of that makes sense at all. Probably doesn't, but man, these guys are going very slow up here. It's like, I think it's 50 out here, or 55. And we're going 35 right now. Oof. Yeah, it's 55. We're the opposite. We're 20 below, which, you know, I don't know if you can get a felony for that. But you can get a felony for 20 above. I've never had that, but I know it's possible. Oh, man. Yeah, so blathering on still. Man, this is going to be, I'm going to have to work on how to hone down, like, talk about simple subjects. Because I could pretty much, especially if I just had coffee, I could pretty much just go on forever. Thank you, man. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh, so I feel like the Street Bob, I can buy that, and like I said, get some of the factory customizations. So some things I would have done. I probably would do exhaust intake and have like the flash, have all that done when I bought it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. I might start out, I don't know, I'm torn on that. But I would definitely do things like have saddlebags put on, have the backrest ready to go, have all of that ready so that like on day one, the things that I need to, you know, to go out on a trip or whatever, they're pretty much there and ready to go. And by a trip, you know, that could be 3,000 plus easily. The bike, it would be more than comfortable for it. It would have everything I needed. I guess save a tank bag. That's something I might put on, or I don't know. I'm kind of not sure how I feel about tank bags. I do like them. I don't know. I think it's more for the adventure bike. It kind of varies. If I got the denim black and the Street Bob, I'd feel more like inclined to put something on it, or, you know, not as, what's the word? I can't. I'd be more inclined. There you go. Otherwise, you can get all kinds of things for up here. Like I could have, you know, a set of pouches up here if I wanted, or different things on the Street Bob. But you know, more than likely I'm gonna have a windshield. I know that the bike looks way cooler without it, but I don't know if you can tell. It's a little windy right now. But where I ride, you know, I ride over 2 bridges every day, twice a day. So I technically cross a bridge. I cross the San Francisco Bay 4 times a day. So 20 times a week, and especially in the morning times, and especially in the winter, I ride year round. You know, I am the opposite of a fair weather rider. I'm an every weather rider, and I have a lot of the gear for it. I have heated. This is when I put the liner in, it's heated, and I got pants that match it, and those are heated, and I have gloves that match this, and they're heated, and I have you know, really nice boots that, despite having a hole, like a tear in the right boot, they're still waterproof, which is just absurd. It's so cool to me that you can literally have a hole you can basically see through, almost, and they're still waterproof. And I mean like waterproof to stand in a puddle of water, literally. for not, you know, like to stand in it. I don't know if I stood in it for like over a minute, but it wasn't like for 5 seconds. It was enough time. The water should have came in, and it didn't, or should have come in.